Good morning, race fans. Today, I will be ranking the absolute worst Formula One merch items. I've searched through every Formula One team store to try to find the ugliest, cringiest, and dare I say, most upsetting official merch products. And I will also be ranking them afterwards from least to most painful to look at, in the hopes that maybe I can knock some sense into them or something. I'm just kidding. I'm not here to insult any designers that worked on any of these, by the way. I think my gripe is more with whoever thought they were a good idea in the first place. And of course, I came prepared with my extremely ugly McLaren cap, which is supposed to be one of the good items, so hopefully that gives us a sense of where the bar is. So without further ado, let's get into it, starting with McLaren. Before going into this one, I had the suspicion that I was going to be a little hard-pressed to find something to critique here, because I think generally McLaren are the team with the best design and branding. However, there was surprisingly a lot of interesting stuff, let's say. Starting with, why are their color names so damn pretentious? For example, this shirt is in caviar. I think the word you're looking for is black. This other shirt comes in evening primrose, or just neon yellow. What do you mean evening primrose? That is not a thing. But anyway, this is not what we're here to talk about. Now let's get into the ugly stuff. As our runner-ups for worst McLaren merch item, we have this really ugly Lando shirt. There's also an Oscar one, but for some reason they made the Lando one worse. This really ugly shirt and hoodie for the Miami Grand Prix. You will notice that the Miami Grand Prix will also be involved in a lot of these. I Heart McLaren t-shirt. This is real, folks. This is not from Etsy. This is real official merch. I really think Oscar's face in this photo says it all. He's like, what am I wearing right now? We have this Miami Dolphins jersey. Oh, wait, never mind. It's a Lando Norris jersey. Apparently. Naturally, the best part about this jersey is that it's actually for Vegas. And there's also this animal print counterpart that actually came really close to being the worst item, but there is one that is actually worse. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vegas cheetah print tank top. And to make matters worse, I had to find out through the Target website, no less, that there are matching pants. I truly have no words for what I'm witnessing. Like, the same team that is unironically naming their black products caviar is also unironically selling this. Yeah. Just no comments. Ferrari. Unfortunately for me, I had no idea that Ferrari is also trying to be like a high fashion brand. So if you go into their website, you'll see a lot of Ferrari clothing items, but they're not Scuderia Ferrari. They're not Formula One. They just sell Ferrari clothes. I personally had no idea that this was a thing, but in my defense, I don't think I look like the average Ferrari shopper precisely, so sue me for being uncultured. So there's actually quite a bit less to say about them than about McLaren, and that is partially because this is not actually Scuderia Ferrari stuff, and partially because I'm just really intimidated by these prices. What do you mean this sweater is $1,000? You can basically buy the same thing in Zara for $40. Obviously not exactly the same, but you know what I mean. Also, their F1 section is actually really basic in comparison. Just the team apparel section and replicas. No streetwear type stuff. So for my honorable mentions, I have this really ugly sweater, this really ugly t-shirt, $700 jewelry you can't even tell is from Ferrari, and not the worst, but the special edition Silverstone cap. Somebody had to say it, this gradient does not work. But I think there's one type of item that is truly the worst, and that is anything from the Charles Leclerc capsule collection. Before any like Fosies come at me, no, this is not because I don't particularly like Charles Leclerc. In fact, it's quite the opposite. I'm defending you guys here. There's stuff on here that is not even obviously a Ferrari or Leclerc thing, and they're charging ridiculous amounts for it. Like, look at these jeans. What about these jeans indicates that they are from the Charles Leclerc Scuderia Ferrari collection? Absolutely nothing. And they cost $800. You cannot be serious. So yeah, maybe this is not strictly ugly per se, but it sucks because merch should not be this expensive. Tifosi, do not let them rob you with this stuff. I will say though, the little dog sweater thing is really cute. You can tell Charles was thinking about Leo when he did that. Let's move on to Red Bull. Before going into this, I expected that this was going to be the most basic merch ever, seeing as they've never changed their fucking livery in their entire history pretty much, and they rarely do special edition stuff. I assume their merch is going to be along the same lines. Basically, Red Bull merch is for people who don't really care how aesthetically pleasing the merch looks, as long as the thing they're trying to rep is like plastered really huge on there. They just want you to know that they're into this thing. For my honorable mentions, I have anything that includes ORBR or Orber, because it's so clear to me that they're trying so hard to make Orber a thing, and it's never gonna be a thing, I'm sorry. This extremely ugly Vegas shirt and jersey, I can make this on Canva in approximately 30 seconds. Official Red Bull bedding. Whoa, ladies, one at a time, please. If you're an adult who unironically bought this, what's going on? But for my absolute worst merch item, I present the Sergio Perez polo featuring flames at the bottom, this very chuggy heart design, and a fucking cactus. Like, tell me that is the only way you could think of to represent your Mexican driver. Simply lovely, more like simply horrible. Get it out of my sight. And since we're already on the Red Bull website, let's move on to Racing Bulls, who, as we know, are the uncontested goats of special liveries. And their merch is honestly quite decent, more on the basic side as well, but I'd say it's more tasteful than Red Bull's, which is maybe not hard, but still. I have one honorable mention, and it's this shirt that says the team they told you not to worry about, simply because the meme that it's referencing is a little passé already, but otherwise, I'd say the shirt kind of rules, actually. I think this is fun. The worst item on the Racing Bulls website is this Miami tank top. Once again, Miami resurfaces in all its fuckassery. And I will say, this is not even that bad, to be honest. I don't personally like this airbrush look, but it is appropriate for Miami. So yeah, nothing else to say. Racing Bulls just continues to be absolutely goated. Mercedes. We're going back to a classier store. Very clean, very modern, kind of what you'd expect. So looking at this, I'm feeling a bit like with Ferrari on this one. Like, come on, guys, give me something damning. Like, y'all don't have to be proper and modern and fancy all the time. You can be a little whimsical with it. Anyway, the only hidden gems I could find were on the sales section, because that's where they have all the pre-Adidas stuff they're trying to get rid of. For my honorable mentions, there's this neon green jersey that is very ugly, this polka dot hoodie, which has no reference to Mercedes anywhere. They really had the gall to charge $127 for that, huh? And the Mick Schumacher cap, which is not ugly per se, but it's buried deep into the clearance aisle, which I think is pretty damning. Ultimately, the worst item I could find was this Tommy Hilfiger sweater, which to me looks like that sweater that says, "I'm a luxury few can afford." And that is literal too, because this thing used to cost about $300. Anyway, Mercedes, just say you're boring and move on. Aston Martin, another kind of bare bones team vis-a-vis merch. Obviously, the easy cop-out here would be to say that the ugliest merch is anything that says Lance Stroll on it, but we're gonna try to do a little better than that. That's low-hanging fruit. For honorable mentions, I have this Rolling Stones collab situation, which I'm just like, pick one, man. And also this AMR 25 is wild to me. The fact that there's a type of fan out there that's like, I don't root for either of the drivers or the team, I just root for the car. Like, this is not Cars, buddy. The AMR 25 is not Lightning McQueen. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't need you to root for it. I was feeling a little underwhelmed by the official website, so I ventured into the Target website, where I was wondering how old some of the merch on here might be, and then I found a Vettel's shirt, so that answered my question pretty fast. And I found this t-shirt, which actually came pretty close to being the worst thing. It says Miami, in case you couldn't tell, and fair enough, because what is this color combination? But I think the single worst item I could find, by virtue of being the weirdest collaboration I've ever seen, is the Aston Martin skincare line, which I guess is like a bunch of products from this skincare brand, and it's packaged in an Aston Martin bag. I'm just trying to understand how this collaboration even happened. In what world does a racing team get together with a skincare brand and say, hey, it would make a lot of sense if we partner together? I don't know, maybe it's not ugly per se, but the sheer randomness of the whole thing just made me do the hardest double take I've ever done, so I think that qualifies. Haas, the American team. TM. Already we're off to a great start, folks, because the first thing you see on their website is their Bear Tour t-shirt, which is already way more fun than anything on the Aston Martin website. Some other honorable mentions include this Canapolis pizza, which I actually think is not that bad. The design of it is kind of dated, kind of Canva-esque, but it's cute and it's more original than the typical racing jersey. Like wearing this, you don't look like you're a Haas employee, you know what I mean? This shirt, which when I first saw it, I was like, what in the pizza planet am I looking at? But then I saw the back of it and it says building a rocket ship, and I just thought that was so cute. Like, don't get me wrong, the design ugly as fuck, but the building a rocket ship just got me to a level I did not expect. It's the starry-eyed ambition of a small team trying to make it, a small ragtag team of engineers coming together to make their dreams come true. I can't bring myself to insult this. I don't have the strength. We have an ugly Miami cap, literally what else is new, and this shirt that truly just screams Murica. But officially, I think the worst item on the Haas website is the Haas hot sauce t-shirt. Again, here we have another example of a very Canva-esque design. Like, what's the deal with this script typeface? It's so hard to read. And also, I have a very pressing question about this shirt. Why on earth is Daniel Ricciardo the face on the bottle? Like, tell me this does not look like Danny Rick right now. This is a violation of his intellectual property. Can you imagine if Danny Rick's face could be considered intellectual property? Anyway, despite this shirt though, I do applaud Haas for being a little more whimsical about it. Take notes, Aston Martin and Mercedes in particular. Williams, everybody's favorite backmarker. The first thing you see on here is the All Saints collab, which is cool, but absolutely not worth the price. Like, I know it's All Saints, but that doesn't mean it's not ridiculous anyway. Like this hoodie that says 77 and 44, which is supposed to stand for the years that Williams and All Saints were established. But it looks like driver numbers, and that'll make you look like the fakest fan in existence. Guys, Valtteri Bottas has not driven for Williams since 2016, and I don't think Pascal Wehrlein ever drove for Williams at all. Get it together. Again, ugly Miami merch. I've already talked about this, but genuinely, who thought it was a good idea? If you're buying anything that says Atlassian bigger than Williams Racing, it better be because you work at Atlassian or something. Carlos. And I hope I don't have to repeat myself about this. We also have a Franco equivalent, which you could never wear this around in Spain, is all I'm gonna say. But the worst item in the Williams Racing store is actually the Williams cardigan. What is this? Why is there a Williams cardigan? Who in the world is ever going to wear a Williams cardigan? What if we kissed at the Monaco Grand Prix and we were both wearing the Williams cardigan? Anyway, I don't think it's that bad, but I just thought it was so funny that this exists. Alpine. I have to make a confession. I don't think I've ever been on the Alpine website ever before, and I assume none of you have either. So I had no idea what to expect, but it was definitely not the most terrifying headline I've ever read in my life. Pierre Gasly has made a deal with the devil, Briatore. Now he's eternally bound to the Pink Water Team. Pink Water Team? Say that to the tune of Pink Pony Club. Pink Water Team. I'm gonna sell my future to the Pink Water Team. Their website has some interesting things, but first I took a detour into their collaboration with Abercrombie and Paxson. Something about Born in the Alps is so funny to me. Hi, our name is Alpine. Take a wild guess where we're from. Back on the actual Alpine website, you have this Colapinto sweater that you can't even read what it says at all. This Lucky 10 situation, which is not bad, but Gasly looks like an astronaut wearing this, and it's just kind of funny. But the actual worst item on the website is, you guessed it, a piece of Miami merch. And it's this cap, which I know we've talked about in the past, but it's just so ugly we need to talk about it again. Not only is this cap serving bus seat realness, it's also, I think, supposed to be for Jack Doohan, which is kind of funny in and of itself. And now, last but not least, Steak Kick Sauber F1 team, or whatever it's called now. For whatever reason, in order to get to the Kick Sauber website, you have to go through the Sauber website. For some reason, it just took me so long to find. I'm like, damn, clearly Sauber don't want to be associated with this anymore. So the Sauber website doesn't exactly have a lot of items, but in their defense, I think it's because they know there won't be a lot of people buying Sauber merch. So that's very self-aware of them. And so the first honorable mention for the worst item on this site goes to this insane t-shirt. But suddenly it all makes sense when I tell you it's a Valtteri Bottas thing, right? In my opinion, this is another case of so bad it's good, because it's only bad until you realize it's a Bottas thing and then all of a sudden it's amazing. I also love how they said this was the essence of Texas. What exactly about this is the essence of Texas? Psychedelics? And another pretty bad item is this Miami jersey. But there is another Miami item that is actually worse than this one. And thus the worst item on the Sauber website is this Miami shirt. And the proof that it's the worst is that they have Zhou Guanyu wearing it. And if you didn't know, Zhou Guanyu is kind of a stylish dude. His paddock fashion is kind of comparable to Lewis Hamilton's. So the fact that even someone as classy as Zhou Guanyu looks bad in this is telling of how truly horrid this is. Now it's time for the final ranking. We're gonna rank all the teams from 1 to 10, where 10 is the least bad and 1 is the most bad. For number 10, I'm gonna put Racing Bulls. Frankly, they weren't that bad. I really found myself fighting demons to find something truly awful, and it just didn't exist. To be fair, maybe that's because Visa Cash App Racing Bulls as such is a pretty new team, and so there's not a lot of merchandise available to go off of, but also maybe it's just because their design team is goated with the sauce. On number 9, we have Williams, because the Williams cardigan is just really kind of impractical and random, but I wouldn't say it's ugly or bad per se. On number 8, we have Haas, the team with the starry-eyed ambition, because this design looks a little silly, maybe a little dated, but it's cute and it's whimsical and fun. They're also the smallest team on the grid, so I think we need to cut them a little slack just in general. On number 7, we have Aston Martin. Again, similar to Williams, there's nothing inherently wrong with this skincare collab. It's just kind of insane to think about. Like, I don't know why Aston Martin is selling skincare. On number 6, we have Ferrari. Once again, nothing too inherently wrong with this one. It's just that I feel bad for the Leclerc stands because they're being robbed out here. And also, again, no variety of fanwear, no whimsy. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want to have to pay $900 for an ugly hoodie. Just give me a cool Ferrari t-shirt I can wear on the street. On number 5, we have the Pinkwater team. It's just this cap is truly horrendous. On number 4, we have Mercedes. It just seems to me like they tried to do something like classy and fancy with this sweater, but it really backfired. Now we're getting into the podium, and with the bronze, we have Sauber. Once again, bad design for the Miami Grand Prix. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's just that people in Miami will buy anything. Like, they won't care about aesthetics or the price. They'll just buy it to say that they own it. I went to the Miami Grand Prix and all I got was this stupid shirt. That's the kind of energy that this is giving. In P2 with the silver, we have Red Bull Racing, or should I say Orber. I can't imagine even the most hardcore Checo stans would actually wear this. And finally, in P1, popping the champagne, McLaren. I've truly never seen a more horrendous piece of merch. Props to anybody who wears this and rock this, because I don't know how you can do it. You truly need to be like the coolest person on the planet to make this look good. Anyway, congratulations to McLaren yet again. Damn, we really can't catch a break from these guys anywhere, not even in a silly design competition. That concludes my review of the worst Formula 1 merch items of recent years. I just want to note that this is what I could find, so if you all can find some other official merch products, please let me know. Send them my way. I want to see them all. Remember to please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. I will see you next weekend for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Stay fueled and remember to charge your light before you film.